I need to peep. Poop. You need to sort that out.
And they have put tattoos in places we can see. But we are now concerned on the external things. So you must agree what are the values that we are there. So once you agree as the values, every child in that house, they are subjected to the same rules and regulations, without fear, without favor. If you find yourself as the non-bio parent feeling like this is not my child, perhaps you need to address your own biases. Because even when you're raising children who are not yours, who are yours, as I said, there will be times when you doubt. So maybe God, most of the time is for a period. They eventually will come back and they'll be grateful that you remained as the solid, stable anchor in their life. So be solid, be focused, look at the bigger picture. Thank you. There is one more maybe.
This one is from online worshippers. One asks and says, one is raised as an Adventist and even baptized, strayed at some point and they have decided to return. However, there is a tussle to get membership. You know that this is pastoral. How do you deal with rejection from the church? Then same person also asks, how do you deal with the church when the church seems not to care for a member who wants to come back? Then the last one, how do we allow a loved one to make a mistake even after communicating the dangers of the mistake? Should we help them with the recovery when they face the consequences?
Oh, good. So, yeah, that one, Pastor, you said, well, it's pastoral. But let me say, talk to the pastor. First of all, you must accept yourself. If you come to the church to receive love, you'll be very disappointed. Because I've said many times, I read it somewhere, church is a hospital for sinners. And not all patients respond to treatment. That's why every hospital has a mortuary. And in most hospitals, there's a coffin maker outside there who has booming business. Because the hospital can have qualified doctors who have been trained and the healthcare workers. But we know there are people who eventually don't respond to treatment. So it will be presumptuous to come to church expecting to get love. Please, first you go to the foot of the cross to get love. So Christ loves you unconditionally. Accept yourself. Sometimes it could be self-rejection. Accept yourself. Come back, follow the due process, because there's a clear due process. You cannot just rush in. You come in, you are redemptively guided, and you're rebaptized, and then you come to the church. Now, if you come to a church and maybe for whatever reason you're feeling like you're not accepted, my friend, there are many churches. See, there are many Adventist churches even around here. Maybe the church is too big. So if you're coming to Lavington, the church is so big, it's overwhelming. Even to maintain the members here, go to Kileleshwa, go to Westlands, go to Riruta. There are many churches. So do not just think that you must, for example, I'm just saying, come to Lavington. Go to many churches. If you go to many churches and you're feeling like you are rejected, look inward. You could be rejecting yourself. And when you are rejecting yourself, nobody can make you feel accepted. So you need to consider. Now, you have taught a loved one. They have been raised by the values. They have strayed and they are facing the consequences. Yes, it depends on what the consequences are. But I just want to say that you can support somebody because I'm assuming if they're experiencing the consequences, they already, they are learning through the consequences. But I think it will depend. I will just need to understand what the consequences are. It will be guided. Your response will be guided by what the consequences are. If they are sick and they need treatment, of course they will get treatment. But resist the urge of telling them, you see, I told you. You know, you don't listen. You see? If you keep telling somebody that, you make it your problem. One time when one of my children went ahead to do something and it hurt them, I just said, they shared with me, I said, that must be tough. I see. If I also went ahead and did that, I would really be hurting right now. What do you plan to do now? I shifted the monkey back to them. That must be tough. What are you planning to do? They said, I don't know. I said, you may need to figure out. And once you figure out what to do, I'm here. You can let me know how to help you. And I said, bye. I disappeared. They later came to look for me. They said, I've thought about it, Mom, and this is what I want to do. I said, I'm here to support you. You know, the child told me that what made them reflect is that I didn't react the way I would react ordinarily. Ordinarily, I would say, see, you know, quote verses. What's your problem? Philosophy, and tell them this, and you don't listen. And, you know, this is what I tell you. But this time, I had known better. I reacted different. Said, that must be tough. They said, you don't care that I'm suffering? I care, but there's nothing I can do about it. You know, that's what happens. I can only imagine that must be tough. And they said, we are not in a therapy session. I said, we are not, but I'm just saying, I feel for you, and I just left them there. They never went back to whatever they had done again. So you have to detach. Let me respond to one that came in yesterday before we end. Okay. Maybe let me take that, then I'll take the other one.
Because this one has just texted me directly. I mean, I think the pastor didn't, the pastor ignored. She's asking, how do we deal with domestic violence against our loved ones? And the last one, how do you help without intervening in the instances where the man is violent and narcissistic? That one.
So,
And the man is that one.
so I appreciate the fact that the person has asked that. So I'm going to answer it from the perspective of, it's our loved one, it's my loved one who is being abused, okay? Let me tell you, many people who are forcefully removed from domestically violent environment, they go back. Is that not so? They go back and you become the enemy. Let me tell you, in every abusive relationship, it's a relationship. It's a dynamic. You will be saying, this is the abusers, this is the victim. That victim is gaining something from that abuse. This is not about victim blaming or shaming. There is a reason as to why, number one, they got into that abuse. Number two, there's a reason as to why they tolerate that abuse. It may be that their self-esteem is so crushed. It may be that they are over-dependent on their abuser to get their needs met. They love the control, but it gets to that. So I want you to be consciously aware that your loved one may be the victim, but it's a dance. There's a dance being maintained because the abuser is meeting a need in the victim, okay? Once you know that, you're going to realize it's not your problem, it's their problem, even if it's your child. When you're talking to them, you're focusing on empowering the victim so that they can decide what they want to do. Some people come to me and they pay for a session and they want to sit for 1 hour to talk about their akafanya. Okay. Thank you. Is working? Think they have gone off? It's not working. Is it working? Oh, good. So the victim wants to sit down and talk about the abuser for 1 hour. Therein you realize the victim is obsessed with the abuser. They have relinquished their power. They have given their power to the abuser. And the abuser is controlling their life. So empowering them is to make them focus inward. What is this that makes you stay? So for me, when they say, Akanifanya, they did this, they did that, I say, that is so sad they did all that. Help me understand. What made you feel you deserve to be beaten? What made there the following day and they kept on doing this? So whatever sort of help need to focus on the victim, empowering the victim so that they can take their power back, to say no, to put a boundary and to live. You can encourage somebody to live if you see that their life is in danger, but you're just saving their life. It must go beyond there to empower them, because a lot of victims have lost all their self-worth, that they cannot see their lives outside of the perpetrator, and they will eventually go back. My family tried to rescue a loved one 7 times from domestic violence. Eventually, they went back the 7th time and contracted HIV, the 7th time. And the domestic violence was so bad, I can't even describe it here. So they were left with HIV and the body completely shattered and broken. So now after they have contracted HIV, they said now there is no reason to go back because already I have HIV. The husband died, the relative died of cervical cancer related to HIV and left the children. And the family sat down and talked, everybody just gave up. So I'm trying to say that there's a hold. Most of the time, people in domestic violence, they're in a trauma bond. A trauma bond is like a drug addiction. So you can rush in and quickly remove them from the perpetrator and keep them safe. I'm telling you, they will run away. My relative used to be picked from the shamba. She has come, she's gone to hospital, she's okay. She has gone to the shamba, the man comes to the shamba, picks her, you're waiting for her. She even leaves her child with you. You're waiting for her in the evening, she's not coming. He looks for her in the market. She went to the market, you're waiting for food. She disappeared. After a short time, she comes again, broken and crawling. When you sit them down to talk, she says, us guys love each other. You people are the ones who are trying to separate us. We love each other. And you're looking at someone who has no teeth and the jaw is broken and they stay. It is sad. Sometimes you watch your family member going down, dying. But what I want you to realize is that this is a relationship. There's a dance, there's a dynamic playing. And the most domestic violence victims, what they need is to be empowered. They will keep telling you, I'm staying for the children. The last child leaves home and you say, so why are you staying? They'll say, you don't understand these things. Of course we don't. So you need to empower them so that they can make the decision, okay? Yeah, so you need to step aside and separate yourself. Even if it means referring them for professional help, especially if you're emotionally invested. And also realize you can remove them from one abuser, they will get another one. That is the point, because when somebody is a victim, they will keep getting perpetrators. So you will remove them, you say that person was bad, you come, you go to church, be baptized, oga urudi soko, get another person, they will get an abuse until number 5. As long as they have not worked on themselves by God's grace to desist from being a victim. Because a victim, I said, attracts abusers. I hope that. So let me just answer the last one and end. I don't know how much time we have. Maybe guided. You want, maybe we take that one only? Yeah.
Okay, you have talked about maybe when you are doing the home Sabbath at your church, then you ask them question, maybe the child and who are proud to be Adventist came to find out he's only one who raised hand. Like, what is the problem? Because the foundation is the key for each and everything that grows strong. What could be the problem? Because when the child are growing up, you find they're very strong, they're mainly in church, but when it reaches at youth stage, you find that is when now the challenges began. How do you handle that? The second question is, how do you initiate the process of reconciliation in case you're wounded or self-inflicted wounds and other wounds? How do you initiate reconciliation? Thank you.
First of all, I'm asking, are they really strong? That's what we think. That's what we are thinking, that they are strong.
Yeah.
Because the Bible verse they are reciting, who has taught them? It's us. You have taught them.
Yeah.
The Pathfinder pledge, you have taught them. So really, I said the other time, I said between the ages of 0 to 13, a child does not fully understand the concept of God. So they experience God the way they experience their parents. If the parent is authoritarian, they will experience God as being authoritarian. And because of fear, they are going to be in church and do everything right, religious practices. What we see a lot here is religion. We don't see much of spirituality. When it's children, we are seeing religion really. So what, as parents, one of the things that we need to do is help our children find God for themselves. Help our children find God for themselves. That along the way you are asking them, what does God mean to you? And some of the resources we have in our Grace Link, if we do our Bible studies with our children, using the kindergarten, the PowerPoint lesson and everything, there's a way in which it helps the child to experience God. And also to understand that if our child, for example, is saying, I don't feel like going to church today, you don't say, in this house, you must go to church. They will come for you. Because of you. It is to ask, let me understand what makes you not want to go to church. You can use that as a teachable moment so that you get to understand. So the question then I will throw to us as parents, how much of what our children are embracing is their religious value? How much of it? How much of it? How much of it makes sense to them? I listened on Sabbath what some of our children were saying. I wanted to bring it to attention. And the children were eloquent and fantastic. Let me just draw attention to one of the things the children said. The children said something like, not the exact, but it was something like this, that maybe your friends could be telling you to do things which are not accepted in the Adventist church. Was there something like that? Some things like tattoos which are not accepted in the Adventist church. Do you see a problem with that statement? So it is because you're not putting a tattoo because it's not accepted in the Adventist church. That faith does not save anybody. That I'm not putting on this because it's not accepted in the Adventist church. When my son wanted to dye his hair and put a tattoo, I didn't talk about the Adventist faith. I said, have you considered that those dyes that are used in the stuff that makes tattoo and for dyeing the hair have heavy metals? And those heavy metals are going to affect your vital organs. Have you considered? And this child said, oh, is that so? Because I know this child cares about his health. He loves himself and he wants to live long. So I never quoted the Bible anywhere because I know we have raised this child in the church. But again, I know that everything that God says we shouldn't do, it's for our good. So I said, consider that tattoos are permanent. And those heavy metals are going to affect your vital organs. That's why somebody who has tattooed cannot donate blood and should not ideally breastfeed because of the heavy metals. So you will tattoo and the heavy metals will be in your system, and later on you may feel different about that tattoo. Will you be proud that you did it? You can dye your hair, it looks cute, but it has heavy metals. And I sent links how the dyes are related to Alzheimer's and what have you. And this child said, oh, okay. So